I never thought my retirement would end like this, standing on my own porch, with 3 police cruisers parked outside and their sirens flashing against the lake water, and then watching the sheriff snap to attention and salute me, yes. Major General Karen Whitmore thought she could have me arrested, humiliated, maybe even dragged off my own property in handcuffs. She didn't realize the war she was starting, and she had no idea how far I was willing to go to end it. Act 1. Conflict ignites. My name is Marcus Blackwood. I'm a retired U.S. Army Major General, 32 years in service, and all I wanted afterward was peace. Pine Lake Estates seemed like the perfect spot, quiet, tucked away, a cabin passed down in my family for generations. But peace doesn't last long when you've got a neighbor like Karen Whitmore. She's the president of the HOA here, self-appointed queen of this little kingdom, and she runs it like her personal fiefdom. If your grass grows half an inch too long, fine. If your paint shade isn't HOA approved, fine. If you so much as breathe wrong, you better believe she'll have a violation notice in your mailbox the next morning. The first time Karen stormed up my porch, she had her spoiled son Tyler with her. Tyler's in his 20s, slicked back hair, gold chain dangling out of his polo shirt. The kind of kid who's never worked a day in his life. Karen squinted at me like I was some criminal and said, "You don't belong here. This property doesn't fall under HOA approval. We'll be taking control of it." I laughed, actually laughed. "Lady, this cabin's been in my family longer than your HOA even existed." But she wasn't bluffing. She pulled out her phone right there and dialed 911. "Yes, officer, I need you to send someone out here immediately. We have a trespasser refusing to leave my property." Her property. Minutes later, 3 squad cars rolled up, lights flashing. My heart sank, not because I was guilty, but because I knew how situations like this can spiral. The deputies got out, hands hovering near their holsters. Karen smirked like she'd already won. Then Sheriff Collins stepped forward. He looked at me, paused, and his whole posture changed. He snapped to attention, hand to his brow, and barked out, "Yes, Major General." Karen froze. Tyler blinked like he didn't understand what just happened. And me, I just folded my arms and said quietly, "Still want me arrested?" I handed over the original Department of Defense paperwork signed by the government itself, transferring this land to my family after my service. Collins glanced at it, nodded, and told the deputies to stand down. But Karen wasn't finished. She hissed, "We'll see about this. You won't be staying here long." Act 2. Escalation and doubt. That night, I couldn't shake the look in her eyes. This wasn't just about HOA power trips. This was personal. I dug into the old records. My grandfather had once refused a deal from Karen's father, who tried to bribe the military into seizing this land for development. The request had been denied, and the land deed was instead secured to my family. The Whitmores had been stewing over that loss for decades. The next day, Tyler showed up at my door alone. He looked nervous, shifting from foot to foot. "Look, I didn't mean for it to get this far," he muttered. I raised an eyebrow. "Your mom sends you to apologize." He shook his head. She's planning something. There's construction by the lake. You don't want to know." And then he bolted before I could press him. That night, I walked near the shoreline. Sure enough, floodlights glared where they shouldn't be. Heavy machinery sat half-hidden under tarps, and faint noises, voices, cries echoed from beneath the ground. My gut clenched. This wasn't just about property lines. Karen was hiding something darker. The following week, she sent a county lawyer with eviction papers. I took one look and knew they were forged. I told the man to leave, and I added, "By the way, I've already sent copies of these to the FBI." His face went pale, but the weight of it all started pressing on me. For a moment, I wondered if I was crazy, if maybe I should pack up and leave. Was this fight even mine anymore? I'd done my time in the service. Did I really want to spend my last years at war with an HOA tyrant? I sat on the porch that night, head in my hands, thinking maybe I'd finally had enough. That's when I heard a quiet knock. Tyler again. His eyes were red, his voice shaking. "She's got 6 people down there. She makes me bring food to them. One of them's a girl named Isabella." I stared at him, stunned, and in that moment, I knew I couldn't walk away. This wasn't about me anymore. It was about stopping a monster. Act 3. Climax and Justice. The next day, black SUVs rolled up my driveway. Men in tactical gear, mercenaries, not locals. Karen stepped out, smug as ever, and shouted, "You've got 10 minutes to leave, or the hostages die." I kept my cool. I had already filmed Tyler's confession and uploaded it to every news outlet I could find. By the time Karen made her threats, the video was spreading online. Her secret was no longer a secret. She barked an order, and her mercenaries moved to light Molotovs. I ducked back inside, locked down my cabin fortified from years of prep, and held them off with calculated precision. Every move I made bought time, and then I heard it. The thunder of helicopters overhead. FBI and state agents swarmed in, spotlights cutting through the night. Karen, frantic now, pulled out a detonator. "I'll take us all down," she screamed. But what she didn't know was the FBI had already swept the tunnels. They'd replaced her explosives with harmless flashbangs. She pressed the button, only blinding light, and smoke filled the night. Her face fell. She realized she'd been outplayed. The FBI stormed the tunnels, pulling 6 terrified hostages to safety. Karen was dragged out in handcuffs, still kicking and screaming, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Tyler stood to the side, silent, watching his mother's empire collapse. In the end, she was charged not just with HOA corruption, but with human trafficking, fraud, conspiracy. Her whole operation dismantled piece by piece. Closing. As I stood by the lake that morning, the cabin quiet again, I felt a strange calm. The war was over, not the kind fought with armies, but with truth, persistence, and a refusal to back down. Final lesson, one sentence. Sometimes the battlefield isn't overseas, it's right in your own neighborhood. And when someone like Karen abuses power, silence is never an option.